chess with Magnus, always ambitious,
Oh,
never shying down from a fight. And this is going to be no different. We are at the Tata Steel Chess India 2024 Blitz. 3 minutes plus 2 seconds increment. The arbiter signal the start of the round. And I think we are about to go a handshake. And what is Vincent's first move going to be? C4, the English, symmetrical English by Magnus. Knight comes out to F3 and G6 played. He wants to put his bishop down the long diagonal. Vincent plays D4, knight takes, and now the bishop comes attacking the knight on D4. He plays C4. We are now... We've transposed into the accelerated dragon territory, but Magnus plays this slightly tricky move, queen b6, attacking here and in the center. The knight jumps, attacking the queen, a check to the king. The knight comes back to c3. Now, you cannot really take here, the knight is defending, so... Knight C3 has made Magnus stop in his tracks. He brings his knight out to F6, attacking the pawn on e4, F3. He's defended the central pawns. If you see the time usage, both players have played relatively quickly, which shows that they know the opening. D6, bishop E6 is one idea. You can even quickly castle. But can you take advantage of this spin here? It doesn't seem likely that it's possible. And so Magnus plays D6, opening up the bishop. Bishop E2 played. He castles as black. White also castles. And now the bishop comes here, putting pressure on C4. You may also want to bring your other rook in to put pressure onto the c4 pawn. And here, Magnus a3 with the idea of b4 later could be very interesting.
Mungkin habis itu
Queen d2.
kudanya naik, coy.
He plays queen d2, but maybe it's not the most
Kudanya
accurate
pindah
move.
kayaknya ini. Kuda nih,
And the
kuda
reason
pindah
is now
sebalik.
you can't jump with your knight
Kuda pindah
easily
kayaknya.
without avoiding the trade of queens. Magnus plays this very nice move, knight d7. He opens up the bishop. The knight is coming to c5, and you can strike in the center with f5 move. Although that's slightly weak, mean you have to play it with a lot of care. Now, if you play knight a3 in this position, then you have to be afraid of bishop c3, queen c3, and the structure is completely ruined here. So that's the reason why, although Vincent wants to get out his knight, he's unable to do so right now. And that's why he's using his time. He needs to be careful. This move, queen d2, perhaps a small inaccuracy by Vincent, already facing some troubles in the position. He brings his rook to c1 so that he protects the knight, ready to get in, knight to a3. Now Magnus has this very interesting move, which is knight b6. Putting pressure here. Look at this. If you go knight b6 and if b3 is played, already this becomes very soft.
Tapi itu coy, itu
But I guess to knight b6, Vincent wants to go knight a3. And again, Magnus is the one who's taking some time and plays his rook to c8, a very natural move, putting pressure down the c5.
buat pion.
Time for Vincent to develop his final piece. Knight to a3 makes a lot of sense. There are also possibilities of just tucking the king to h1. He goes knight a3, a good move. And f5 on the board. Excellent play by Magnus. He's sensing a certain bit of disharmony in his opponent's camp. Pawn takes pawn. He takes back with the pawn. Now, such moves, f5, is slightly dangerous because the e7, e6, these squares get weakened quite a bit. But here, are they going to haunt white? Are they going to haunt black? We don't know. Knight b5, he comes in, and Vincent knows what harmony is all about. He feels it that the knight belongs on the d4 square. So knight b5, an excellent move by him. And what is Magnus's response going to be here?
Pion yang ujung tuh.
Look, let's have a look at the clock timings. 1 minute 40 seconds for Magnus, 1 minute 20 seconds for Vincent. You can see Magnus playing with those two pawns, thinking about what his next plan ought to be. F4 might be an interesting move. Is there some exchange sacrifice there? He goes knight e5 for the time being. Attacks the pawn on c4. Look at this. 1, 2 attackers here, only one defender. You have to defend it. But how?
Bisa
You
sih
want to go
kudanya
B3?
paling
Yes, he does.
Oh,
Slightly
pakai
weakening
pion,
the
coy.
C3 knight, but there's no way to take advantage of it. F4, what a move.
Anjir.
Now if you take here, then clearly
Ini
rook
gratis
F4, queen
padahal.
F4,
Tapi kita
and
nggak tahu nih.
A6 will net the C3
Magnus.
knight. So that's the
Magnus
reason
gimana
why
nih?
he comes back bishop
Nggak
F2,
dimakan,
a
coy.
safe move there by Vincent. And I think it's time to kick this knight away as well. A6, the knight jumps back, attacking E6 bishop, he takes it, bishop takes D4, and now Magnus pushes his pawn to B5. Magnus just gets this feeling that his position is very solid because of the dark square control, and he's already ready to open up the queen side. Pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. You cannot really win this because the queen is hanging and you cannot even take on B5 because of rook C3 followed by queen B5. So somehow this move B5 is a very irritating one for Vincent.
Menurut aku makan aja
And
sih
he can't do
pionnya.
much about it. He cannot allow B takes C4, so he
Kan?
takes. Rightly
Pasti
so.
dimakan.
Magnus takes back.
Oh.
And now your queen is a little bit uncomfortable. You want to
Kalau
defend
dimakan
rook
sama
D1,
kuda,
but then the
pasti.
C3 knight is a bit soft. They
Menterinya.
give the ideas like knight F3, bishop F3, bishop takes, queen
Salah
takes, and then the C3 knight hangs if the rook moves away from the defense of the knight. So much to calculate.
Enggak,
Vincent
enggak.
down to 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Oh my goodness, he's not making a move. Vincent Keimer needs to play. He goes rook D1. A good move there. But now is knight F3 possible? Bishop F3, bishop D4, queen D4, queen C3. Magnus is calculating. He doesn't like that later A4, A5, A6 with the bishop looking at the queening square. That might get very dangerous. So he's calculating whether this works.
Itu udah
And this
berapa
is the
tadi?
toughest part in a blitz game.
Berapa
You
langkah
see a
tuh?
combination working, you give it up. And then you play something else. Bishop F5, that's a mistake. F4 pawn hanging. Suddenly there are no good discovered attacks. Vincent with 4 seconds takes it. You can sense that Vincent is fearless.
Oh, iya.
Magnus comes in with his rook, attacks the bishop. Queen E3, again the best move, defending the bishop here. Rook takes A2. Yes, you can capture that pawn. That seems like the best move there. And at least getting back your pawn. Magnus has 36 seconds. Vincent down to 5 seconds on the clock. He takes the pawn on A2. Rook takes. Queen takes, and now very important to play something like King H1. But he goes knight G3, makes an error, allows bishop C2, hitting the rook and the pawn. Plays it, and now rook C1, very important move, so that queen B3, there is queen B2, but no time. Rook D2 is a mistake because Magnus wins another pawn, and this time a very important pawn, because this one, he's now
Waktunya 30
completely
detik lagi,
pawn
coy.
up here. He wants to take here and take on E5, Magnus saves his
Pusing
bishop,
Magnus nih.
F4 played. And you can see Magnus
Tuh,
wanted
kan.
to move the knight, but then just
Si
stopped
apa
in.
sih? Siapa ini?
What
Kevin
was
ya?
it
Kevin
that he's
Keimer.
thinking? Knight D7
Keimer
and
apa?
knight
Dia rapih coy
C6.
mainnya. Kalau Magnus kan
A few
dia lebih
possible
ke-
moves
apa ya?
here.
kayak
He
main
goes
cepat gitu.
knight to
Tapi
C6,
on point.
attacking the bishop. Bishop takes
Tuh.
that check. King
Udah
takes
diadu-aduin, udah
and
waktu
plays
udah
his
habis.
bishop to B5, again attacking the knight, and he
10
attacks
detik coy lah.
White's knight. Great vision of the board. Bishop H5 attacking F4 pawn, so G3 defends it. He comes back to protect this pawn. Rook B2,
Mana
D3
masuk.
played, and
Keren,
Magnus
coy.
is completely winning now. The way in which the tide turn was very, very impressive, and you can see how Magnus calms himself down when he's winning the game. He doesn't really go through the motions, trying to sort of continue in that adrenaline thing. He tries to slow down. Rook G2, bishop comes out to D5, attacking the rook. Rook goes back, pawn pushes forward, G4 takes, pawn takes.
Ooh.
Now bishop is controlling the
Awas,
queening
coy.
square. So rook B8, G5 check, king comes back to G7, and Vincent comes back to stop the pawn from queening.
Remis
Magnus
nih.
knows that
Ya,
he
gila.
is winning here,
Keren
but
banget, coy.
first place
Beuh.
E6,
Pion.
not a great
Kayaknya
move.
hitam
Rook
udah menang
D1
dah.
actually is the best. F5 mistake. He takes bishop A2, bishop comes back, chops off the bishop, rook takes, king comes up to G6, and you can see
Kalah
that
kan?
the G pawn is
Gila,
falling,
Magnus keren coy.
and Vincent
Kalkulasi yang
resigned.
sangat baik
Magnus
daripada
says that
Grand
wasn't the
Master.
most perfect
Kalahnya
game
cuma kalah
there,
pion
but
satu.
really a great fight and some great ideas in this accelerated
keren
dragon
dah.
setup.
Segitu
The
aja,
move
guys.
F5 that Magnus played is definitely very, very instructive in how you should be breaking up